goes all the time. You go on an interview, and what happened? I asked Mark, how'd that interview go? I heard this like 90% of the time, right? Like, I think it went well. I'm not sure, I'm not this. So if you have an interview coming up or a networking call, these are important things to consider. So I know it's in the Slack channel, it's in the videos, but I want to go over the most important things on an interview. So if you have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, it was effective, okay? Because what you don't want to do is leave the interview saying, oh man, how'd I do? You should for sure, based on this, know if you did a good job. So the first thing is this: what are you saying to start this conversation, right? That is so important. Mark, tell me about yourself. I've been in like sales for 20 years and hey, there's a specific way to do it, right? So when we talk about our pitch inside the course, we talk about having an icebreaker. I like to start off, it's so tense, right? You guys are nervous and they're nervous too. They might not look like it, but they're nervous because no one trained them on how to interview anybody. So they're like, I don't know what I'm gonna ask this person, right? So again, I like to start off by saying something like this. Hey, my name is Tim Madden. I live in Tampa, Florida. I'm a 22-year military vet. I live here with my family, and I love Florida because I like warm weather, sunny beaches, and no state taxes. And it typically, you get a laugh, guys, you're off to a good start. Anything you can do to be like, hey, like I'm a real person. Then you go into a little bit about yourself as it applies to whatever the role is. So again, Barb just got a contract role at an agency. Think about this. When she went on that interview, what am I focused on? They're an agency. I know I haven't talked to anyone, but probably dealing with these problems. If I'm in marketing, they're probably dealing with, hey, they probably need more clients. They probably want increased revenue for their clients that they're serving. So you can already probably say, hey, these are the things that most businesses struggle with that I typically help. So everyone's gonna have their own thing, but that's in the middle, right? That's when we're gonna talk about, hey, this is the value that I've brought. So again, to give you an example, if I'm doing talent acquisition leader, I'd say, hey, over the past 20 years, I've been a talent acquisition leader who, what do you think I want to highlight? I'm in charge of like managing people who recruit people, right? So they probably want to know, how many people have I placed? How many people have I managed? How quick can I reduce their hiring costs? So a good rule of thumb is just, what's the general information? Then after you've capped that, remember, I'm not trying to tell them my whole life story though, because we live in 2022. We've been on the call 7 minutes. You guys are already on Facebook, right? You're like, just joking. Do you know what I mean though? Like, guys, people's attention. And then I always wrap it up with, hey, what really interested me in this organization, even guys, even Joe, if a recruiter called me and said, hey, Tim, we're scheduling you for an interview at this company I've never heard of. If I show up to that company, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm still excited to meet with you because of something I read online. Social responsibility, something you did in the community. Hey, you just launched this new product. I don't know what it is, but any type of commonality. You don't do that effectively, guys, it's hard to turn people. You know, it's the hardest thing to do, like turn around a first impression. Here's the thing, right? You see a soldier who's out of shape in a uniform. The first thing you're gonna say is, he doesn't meet the standard. He could be the best guy ever. Or what if his uniform's all like crumpled up, like he just pulled it out of the thing? You're gonna be like, hey, what the heck? You know how hard it is to turn that around if the general saw that guy? Dude, he's gonna remember him all the time. He comes up on a promotion, nope, could be the best guy, right? First impressions are so important. How do you get better at this? You have to practice. When you start practicing all of these things I'm about to tell you, it's awkward. Why? People don't like to do stuff they're not good at. Anyone like to like play games with their spouse or something? Like, I don't know what it is, horseshoes, cards, or whatever. If your spouse beats you every time, are you gonna wanna play cards? You're gonna be like, no, I'm not fucking playing cards with you. You beat me every damn time. Your pitch is so important to practice it. So what I meant with games is, we don't like to do things that we're not good at. It is awkward until it becomes comfortable. How does it become comfortable? Pushing through the awkwardness until it becomes, this is what it is, and accepting it. If you don't have a good pitch, you guys are gonna be here a long time. Focusing on the only reason, Gopal, that you're on that interview, which is, what are they really looking for and what are their challenges? Word it however you want. I read the job description. Hey, I know you're looking for a VP of marketing to run a couple of your clients' agencies, but can you tell me like, hey, what are you really looking for? Write it down. We'll go over storytelling in a sec. Number 2, they probably have challenges. So think about this. in the most logical sense of an interview, and most people don't do this, they don't ask, hey, what are you really looking for? And what are some of your challenges? And if you can pull those out and then say, hey, I can do that, and I've done that over here, and these are some of the results I have, and here's what I found to be successful. Think about it in the most logical sense. Why would you not move a person to the next round who you've told them everything that you're looking for, you've told them a couple challenges, and they said they've been there, done that, solved it, here's how I solved it, here's the results. Why would you not push that person forward? I just found something in Forbes, guys. Check this out. Mind-shattering data. People that are in roles right now that require, on paper, bachelor's, master's, X amount of years of experience. Follow me, check this. For people in those roles right now, only 20% of people actually fit all of the criteria. If you don't believe me, I do this all the time, especially with our finance professionals, because they tell me, hey, Tim, I can't be a CFO because I don't have my CPA in every job I apply for, or when I'm looking online, everywhere says that they want that. But then I say, do this. Hey, do this. We're going to look up 20 CFOs right now, random, on LinkedIn, and we're going to see actually how many have an advanced degree and a CPA. 20%. Make recruiters advocates for you. Funny things is, guys, I like to use humor sometimes, right? So I would say this, if a recruiter calls me and does an interview and then says, you don't have something, Neil, I'm gonna be like, Neil, I just have one question for you then. Hey, why did you call me? I'm just curious. There's a couple things that we can do. Number one is, are they more focused on someone who has the certificate or someone who has a successful track record? Now, sometimes a new recruiter is gonna say, no, certificate, etc. Hey, you're gonna get that, right? But maybe here's other questions you can ask them. Hey, especially like a hiring manager who says that you don't have something and you're kind of coming back and forth. But the thing is, great questions to ask, especially for mid to large size companies, is, have you ever hired someone who's had a successful track record like me, who's worked on multiple CRMs, that actually didn't have the Salesforce experience, but has still been super successful at your agency? As I guarantee you they have. And then right when they say, well, yeah, well, good, that's me. Let's get started. So again, most of it too is, how are you handling this? How are you responding to it? Because if someone says, hey, Tim, you're great, but you need to have a PMP. If you're like, oh man, but I can do the job. Just give me a chance. Practice with an individual coach or something, because all of you guys have different things. I know that we could look at all of your profiles and we could find something that someone's probably going to generally say. So remember, we talk about preparing for those roadblocks, right? We typically know, guys, what they're going to say. So whatever it is, you just have to know, what do you think they're going to bring up in the background? It doesn't help you get hired. Spend like that much time talking about it and just try to move forward. Prepare for these roadblocks. You guys should know what they are. If you've done all of these things up until now, which means you had a pitch, you've asked the questions, you've done storytelling, you've overcome objections, locking down next steps. What I mean by that is, you should have something scheduled with somebody before you leave the call. What is the recruiter gonna say at the end of the call? We already know. Hey, Gopal, you're great. I'm gonna send your information to the hiring manager and he'll be in touch. I have no idea when or if you'll ever hear from me again. Great, CEO, good, close the deal then, right? Then the CEO uses excuses like this, guys. I need to talk to the board. I need to talk to the executive team. So it's always gonna be something, right? He should say, hey, what are the next steps in the process? Don't know what he's gonna say, but let's say he says, well, I gotta get with my executive team, double check, and then I'll get back with you after I meet with them. And you're like, okay, great. Get off the phone, set a follow-up call, and not. So be sure to ask questions like, hey, that's great. Hey, when are you meeting with them? Next week's busy, so it probably won't be till the week after. Okay, that's great. So, looking at the calendar, the 21st is like Thursday in 2 weeks. Do you think you'll have met with them by then? Oh, sure. Great. What time works best for you on that day to connect, morning or afternoon? And just schedule something. Make it easier for him. You know that guy's busy. Hey, he's a previous manager. Good. Then just go in there and say, hey, you know me. You know what I'm about. Hey, can I put something on the calendar in case I don't hear from him so me and you can reconnect? And the problem is, if you get lots of resistance around that, there's only probably one answer. You probably didn't do a good enough job in a lot of these things. Because I tell you what, When you're a recruiter and you have an effective interview with someone where you're like, man, they're really qualified. You're excited, guys. You're like, shit, talk to 20 people. I finally found one. I guarantee you they're calling the hiring manager. If we don't do a good job up until there, not good, not good, not good. Focus on these things, right? The pitch, the question, storytelling, objections, locking down next steps.